Hello, class. Today's lesson is on the nested if statements. All right. And if you look at our notes, it says the nested if statement. To test more than one condition, an if statement can be nested inside another if statement. All right. So that means you may have one or more questions that may need to be asked in order to determine what you need to do. Give an example. Many times you may go to, well, just look at logging into the system. Many times it asks you for a login. Once you type the login, then it asks you for a password. So this would be something that a nested if statement may be used for, depending on how they controlling their error messages. Example, normally say type in your login. You type in your login, you hit enter. It may say, oops, invalid login. Or you might type in a login and it may not check it, and then you type in a password. Then it might say login and or password may be invalid. So that's more of a vague outcome, because what, you don't know if it's the login or the password, which is good for password, but it may not be good for other situations, right? So and it says that sometimes an if statement must be nested inside another if statement. For example, consider a banking program that determines whether a bank customer qualifies for a special low interest rate on a loan. Right? To qualify, two conditions must exist, and that's only in this circumstance. The customer the customer must be currently employed. Okay, number one, and number two, the customer must have recently graduated from college. All right, so you must have a job or currently employed, and you must have graduated from college. Those are the two stipulations, right? Uh, uh, in the past, and then it says from college in the past 2 years. All right, so that's the other stipulation from college, but then what, in the past 2 years. All right. So if we look at this flow chart, all right, we have declared all our variables. We already inputted our information into the variables, but then now it asks whether or not you are employed. So like if you had to fill out an application, or either you was filling out an application online, the first question would be, are you employed? And you would input yes or no, or Y or N. If it's no, then false, then it'll automatically uh, take the false side and just display you must be employed to qualify. It does not have to check any whether or not you went to college or not, because what, number one, you must be employed. Okay, and then it will continue on with the program. But if you would have entered Y for being employed, then it needed to go through another check to see whether or not you have graduated from college. All right. So it's a recent grad. So it says now here you would have to put a Y or N, a Y at least. So if it's equal to Y, then what? You qualified because you passed the first question and you passed the second question. But if you passed the first question but then failed the second question, then it tells you you must have graduated from college in the past 2 years to qualify. All right. So you see how you can have a nested if, and depending on the answers that you're given, the first one, okay, if you do yes, but it's still now you have to input an answer for the second one, or a condition must be met for the second one to do the true part. Otherwise, it'll do the false part. So that's a nested if. Now, an if can be nested many, many, many different times. Now, like I said, it all depends on the circumstance or the problem that you're trying to solve. All right. So as many conditions that need to be met, you need to actually have them within the program. I would say too, when you start dealing with your ifs and your nested ifs, I would say many students, what they'll do is they'll get tied up or focused on trying to get one portion of the program working and don't check for every possible situation, right? And that's a issue that happens a lot. They would turn in the program. Oh well, they was employed, yes, and then oh they was a graduate, yes. Oh, and Mrs. Vessel, oh it gives me that they was whatever. But then I would put in no for employed, and then I wouldn't get any results. So it depends on how and what it is that the program is needed to do as to what you need to test for. So make sure when you're writing programs and you're writing nested ifs within it that your program logic is correct and you do get the proper or the correct output when you execute it. And test for all situations. Don't just test for one and say, oh, now it works and leave it alone. All right. So let's look at this. If you follow the flow of execution in the flow chart, we see that the expression employed equal yes is tested. If the expression is false, there's no need to perform any further tests. And what they're saying is you don't need to perform any other tests. You don't need to go on this side and do anything. You're just outputting. You do not qualify and continuing on with the program. All right. So that's all it's saying now. All right. So it says that if the expression is true, however, okay, we need to test the second condition. All right. This is done with a nested decision structure that tests the expression recent grad. Yes or no? Oh, well, yes. And you will ask it if you and put yes, right? So if he's equal to yes or y, then if that expression is true, then the customer does qualify for the special rate loan, right? If this expression is false, but look, then it will actually take this false route and display you must have graduated from college in the past 2 years to qualify. So even though they was employed, they did not qualify for the loan. All right. Okay, the special rate loan. All right. So let's look at the code that was given by the book. All right. So it tells us, okay, this is what they prompted the user. First of all, we have a char value called employed. Okay. That's one of our test conditions. Okay. And look, it says currently employed, YON. So you put in a Y or put it in. But we don't have any validation on those. You can put in an M or T or whatever. So because we see here, there's no validation. It's just saying CN, the value. So then recent grad, a Y or N. So let's look at this. It says C out, C out, C out, and C out. So it says answer the following questions, okay, with either Y for yes or N for no. Now it's telling you this, but we know when we look at the program, it's not validating or trying to control whether you only put in Y or N. We'll get to that at a later date. All right, validating, making sure that that value is that particular value. And normally we would do that with a loop where we would actually tell it to do while employee is not employed is not equal to Y or N. So as long as it's not equal to a Y or N, you would steady prompt them for the value. Please input whatever, seeing whatever. Please input whatever, seeing whatever. And then when they put one or the other, then it will take off and go on to the remainder of the program. But we'll do that later on. So you would put in a Y or N, all right? Are you employed? Then it says CM, CN employed, whatever value, Y or N, if you read the message, but you could put anything. Uh, so you put that value in. Have you graduated from college? All right, in the past 2 years, and then CN recent grad. So what happens? Even though you done put in those two values, now it's going to test for the first one. All right, if it's false, all right, if that condition is false, then if you look at this logic from here, from this open curly brace to this closed curly brace is the true logic, right? So if they did not, if they are not employed, it's just going to simply end the program, okay? But if they are employed, then it goes into this body of that if, the true logic, and then it asks the question, recent grad, whether or not it's Y. If it is Y, it's going to output you qualify for the special interest rate. All right. But if it's N, then it falls out of this. This is the true logic, but it falls out of this, which would be all the way here. Okay. Because all of this is the true logic. All right. This is just a if. This is just an if. Neither one are is a if else. Right. So once I fall into here and I execute this this if statement, it's going to check this. If it's true, it does this. If it's false, it just kicks all the way out and do the return 0, and your program has ended. Okay, so let's look at this. If you ran the program and you entered a Y for employed, and then it's going to prompt you, have you graduated from college in the past 2 years? If you put Y, okay, yes, you do get the special interest rate. All right, but look here, they inputted Y, all right, for employed, but then no for the past 2 years, and the program just simply ends. All right, now, as I told you earlier, you need to test for all conditions. If you look at the output in this, they ran the program how many times? Twice. All right, but is there only two possible outcomes? No, there are three. And you say, okay, why is that, Mr. Sylvester? If you look at this, this is one. If you put in Y, then it goes here. But if you put in no, you should have a outcome. And if you put in no, it's no results. So that's the one that they didn't test for. They didn't test for if employed was no, what would happen to my program, how it would execute. But they did check for Y and no and Y and Y. All right. So that's what I'll be saying when I'm saying when you check for all conditions, because you never know if your program is actually doing what it's supposed to do until you test it. Right. So now it says, look at the if statement that begins in line 21. All right, it's test for the expression if employee equals Y. Okay, if this expression is true, the statement begins and check for the second nested if. All right. Otherwise, the program jumps to the return, all right, which one has return 0 statement, and ends. Right. So it says, notice that the second sample execution, which is the next program down here, that the program output does not, right here, does not perform, does not inform the user whether he or she qualifies. Because if you look here, if I would put no in here, it would just end the program. All right, it doesn't specify what or why or nothing. All right. So what happens is if the user enter an N, all right, or any other character other than Y, for employed, okay, or recent grad, the program does not print a message letting the user know that he or she does not qualify. Okay, and it tells us we can fix this. All right, an else statement should be able to remedy this. All right, and if we look at this program, exact same program, But all of a sudden now you got what? If we look at this program, we still have our C outs here. We have our declarations of our variables. We declare them. Here's our C out statements, exactly like the previous program. But if we look at our logic, here we got if employed, okay? If this is true, it's going to perform from here or here. That's the body. But look what happens now. It has an else. So now what? If it's not true, if you put anything other than Y, now it says you must be employed to qualify. So now you're kind of making your program more informative, all right, for the user, all right? Then look inside of here. If recent grad is equal Y, remember the last time we just had what? The true side of it. And we did this, and if it was true, we did this, and then we just came on out and did return 0. But now what? If it's not this, we can perform this saying you must have graduated from college in the past 2 years to qualify. And then what? After this else, it jumps out. It doesn't go to this else. It jumps out to the return and ends the program. Okay, so see how we just made the program a little more informative in that if I ask, are you employed? If you put yes, then we continue. But if we put no, we allowed them a else and gave them explanation as to why they didn't qualify. Okay, so that's some good practices you need to have within your program. Not always you're gonna have to be communicating back and forth with a user. Sometimes it's just the program need to have the information, so you may not need to have a else to actually output some data. All right. But like I say, you need to know that it can be done so that when you do need to communicate back and forth with an end user, you can do that. All right. So look, answer the following questions with the Y or for yes or N for no. Are you employed? They put in. You have you have graduated from college, or have you graduated from college in the past 2 years? All right, and they put in a Y. All right, but okay, you must be employed to qualify. But if we look at this program, uh, here, if they put in an N here, once they put in the N here, it should not ask this question because once you put in N, it does not perform any of this. So I don't know why the print. Okay, have you graduated from college? Because this else is not a part of this if. This else is a part of that. So this output is supposedly wrong. All right. So what should have happened is when a no was typed in, it never should have asked you this question, and it should have went to you must be employed to qualify. All right. Because here, if you answer this question no, okay, this is the true for the if, and this is the else, and it should have only gave you this. It only falls in here if employed is Y. So this is a mistake in the book with this being no here. All right. So now, if we look at this one, and they answered Y, and then they answered no. All right. So this is right. Because once you answer Y, then you got an opportunity to answer the second one. All right. So you answered no. And then so once you answer no for the second one, and this is the right output. All right. So now you answered Y and Y here, and then what? They do qualify for the special interest rate. All right. So that's the nested if. Okay, that is the nested if. Okay. Now, what we can do, let's look at a program in online GDB of a nested if. All right. And what we're looking at, oh, well, it's really if else. But let's write a program with the nested if. All right. Let's take all this out. Okay. I'll leave those two in. Take this out. So let's say we do grade and we do a score. All right. Score equals, say, whatever, 85. So here we could ask the question if, and I'll do grade. All right. So we have a grade and a score. So here we could ask if grade is equal to A, what it's saying. All right. All right. Then what I can do, I can do the curly braces like I told you. All right. So this is all for this particular if, all right, by default. Then we could ask if score is greater than say 80. All right. So now open close. All right. And if I wanted an else, I could do else. All right. So see how I'm putting my controls in? Well, let's see here, and this is my else. All right. So you see how I've written the program. I've kind of written it where I don't have information in it yet, but I have it pretty much formatted so that I can understand, okay, this if here, okay, this is all the true logic. And then else, if it's false, I'm doing this. So I could say, okay, if grade is equal to A, okay, I'm doing that. Else, okay, I could put C out your grade is not of high standards. All right. So I can put that's gonna be the default. If they make any grade other than an A, it's their grade is not up to high standards. All right. But if they have a grade of A and then a score of say 80, then we could say something like uh, you know your company rating uh, allows you to qualify. All right. All right. Something like that allows you to qualify. All right. Okay. All right. So now, if that's the case, so that would allow them, that company to qualify to maybe what, sell insurance, do whatever. It could be anything. But they have the A grade, but the score is not high enough. Then you could say something like, see out your company score puts you on a 1-year waiting list. So, and look at this, just something, just small scenario. So, like I say, if a company was trying to sell insurance, a company had to have an A grade to be a part, to get a contract with a company, and their score had to be greater than 80. All right. So here you asking if the grade is A and the score is greater than 85. Well, greater than 80, and the score is 85. So in this program, the grade is equal to A, and the score is greater, so it should print out your company rating allows you to qualify. All right. So, and this is just some comments I got at the end of the program. I can remove them if it confuses you. All right. So let's run this program and see what results we get. All right. So if we run this program, I have an issue. Oh, I forgot my equal sign. Oh, class. All right. So now I have it assigned. So let's run this program. I see out. I'm streaming. What I'm streaming. I was streaming. Yes. Double call that. Which one is it? Upgrade and okay. See, NL. All right. So let's run in class. All right. So it says what? You got a grade of A, remember? And a score of 85, A. Okay, it equal to A, greater than 80, it's 85. Your company rating allows you to qualify. All right. But if I change the second one to like a 75, all of a sudden now the grade gonna be an A, right? But the score will be less than 80. So it's going to say your score puts you on a 1-year waiting list. So you got the grade, but the score wasn't enough. So you'll be on the waiting list. So when I run it this time, see, your score puts you on a 1-year waiting list. All right. So now, this was the issue with the book I told you about. But if the grade was anything other than an A, say they had a B rating or B score, all right, B grade. Now, it's going to check this, but it will not do anything in here. It'll go all the way to this else because everything from here to here is the true logic. So it's going to skip this and it's going to only say your grade is not of high standards. All right. So, and I should say standing, but let's run this. See, your grade is not of high, and I got standards. All right. So see how in the book it messed up. It give you the wrong output, but I'm showing you that if the grade, once it tests for the grade and it's false, it's going to automatically go do the else condition for that if, and it's going to output that and then continue with the program. Okay, and hopefully this can help you. You got the other example, and then I kind of gave you this example, which is a little different, but basically the same process. So hopefully this can help you also with the nested if. Okay, so this ends this particular session. All right.